I do a beer and cheese pairing at Daly's, and we style it. The beer is the groom, and the cheese is the bride. And some of these matches are totally made in heaven. So you think of any Asian food, goes far better with beer. You think of Mexican food, goes far better with beer. You think of Great British food, otherwise known as Indian food. So the second major component of beer, I had a conversation with somebody about this earlier, is water. Now most beers are at least 90% water, and it's very important. The classic water, of course, is Burton-on-Trent for making ales. Huge levels of calcium, sulfate, bicarbonate. It's got immense levels of total, permanent and temporary hardness. Okay? Soft water, Pilsen, very, very soft water. A lot of people talk about you've got to have this composition for this beer and that composition. The water is important, but you know, there's nothing magic about Rocky Mountain water. I can make it in Davis. Because the brutal reality is that most beers are at least 90% water. It does not make sense to ship them vast distances, okay? Because beer, as we'll see in a little while, beer deteriorates very quickly. The best beer is the beer that's brewed closest to the brewery. If you can get it before it gets into a bottle, even better, okay? So, but you know, Kirin, for example, is brewed in Los Angeles. So you can match the water from Japan with the water there to brew Kirin, and the match will be impeccable. I was telling somebody the story earlier on that when I first came over here, as the Anheuser-Busch endowed professor, I was in St. Louis, and they invited me to taste all the buds. There was a bud from every location where they brewed the bud all over the world, and I couldn't tell them apart. There was nothing I could, the match was amazing. But of course, being the Anheuser-Busch endowed professor, I had to say something intelligent. I said, this beer is slightly sulfuric, you know. People were ordering airline tickets, people's jobs were on the line, because I was trying to be smart. This is beer that had been brewed in China, in London, in Ireland, all across America and so on. It was indistinguishable. And that, whether you like the beer or not, is an amazing testimony to the skill that brewing can have, and how you can overcome differences in things. We don't do what the wine guys do, you know. We don't have this vintage thing. The crush. Oh, the crush. This is a good year or a bad year. We have a crush 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day. That's a crush. Okay? And you know, always Bush Dingo used to go to the brewery and say, this beer tastes like shit. So yeah, bad year for hops, August. I'm sorry. No. You overcome differences and stuff. And that applies to breweries large and small. Now, not all beers are 90% water. There is a war going on at the moment, and this war is who can pee highest up the wall of alcoholic strength. Okay? And this war started in Boston with the Boston Beer Company and a beer called Utopias, which is a beautiful vessel, like a brewery kettle, and it's 25.5% alcohol by volume. Now the war has gone to Europe, as wars often do, and in particular between the Germans and the British. So in Germany, a company called Schwarzbrau came out with Schwarzbock 31. Now the only way to get 31% alcohol by volume, I'm not sure if anybody's from Canada, is to freeze out water. The Canadians have known it for years. You take your beer, you stick it in the snow, the first thing to freeze out is water, so you concentrate the alcohol. This is ice brewing technique, and this is what they did. Over to Scotland, a company called Brewdog, who came out with the amazingly, cunningly titled Tactical Nuclear Penguin. Tactical to attack the Germans nuclear, because it's 32% alcohol, and penguin because they live on the ice. Over to Germany, and the company came out and they said, Gott im Himmel, was ist das? Scheißen! And they came out with Schwarzbrau 40. 4% alcohol. Over to Scotland, undaunted, they came out with Sink the Bismarck, okay? 41% alcohol by volume. But now they've surpassed themselves and they have a beer called The End of History, converted into dead animals. So they have got a taxidermist to have stuffed squirrels and so on and shoved these bottles in. Beer is a drink of moderation. And I do not advocate this any more than I advocate alcohol-free beer. Okay? So there's a lot to be said for the middle of the road. Hops. Hops, of course, been around for a long time. The only real thing you can do with hops is to make beer out of them, although those hop guys are identifying very interesting pharmaceutical molecules in them. And if I told you the single most potent phytoestrogen ever identified comes from the hop. And this is finding its way into certain enhancement creams for the female population, which I'm pretty confident is going to be my next research project.
Make your class more popular.
The good news, gentlemen, before you start going, is they don't get into beer in any significant quantity. Okay? So, but the worm will turn because the brewing guys have squeezed the hop suppliers repeatedly down to the margins. And if those hop guys can find an alternative market other than just for beer, then beware. Of course, the closest relative of the hop is marijuana. As some of you probably have smoked hops. I don't recommend that. And of course, there are two main components in hops. The resins, and the resins from beer are the source of the bitterness, or the hops are the source of the bitterness, and the oils, which provide the aroma. So historically, the way in which you would use the bitterness is, and still people like Sierra Nevada do it this way, whole cone hops from the female plant, and the more you put in and the earlier in the boiling process you put them in, the greater is the extraction of the bitterness. But if you put the hops in at the start of the boil, all this lovely aroma, the oils, evaporates off. So for classic lager brewing, what you do is hold some of the hops back to the end of the boil. And this is called late hopping, and the yeast will modulate those oils and change them somewhat to get this refined late hop character, which is prized in beers of, say, the Pilsner style. In British ale brewing traditionally, you take a handful of whole hops and you stick them into the finished beer. And then you get a much complicated dry hop aroma. But back to the resins. The resins are important for other reasons as well. One is, they are antimicrobial. Okay? And they're not totally antimicrobial, and beer is susceptible to certain microorganisms, but no pathogens. Okay? No pathogens will grow in beer. You never hear Safeway recalling beer. Okay? Melon, possibly. Ground meat, possibly. Never beer. Okay? So they're antimicrobial. They also are foam stabilizing. Now, one of my big research topics over the years has been bubbles. In fact, in Berlin, they call me the Pope of Foam, which is a terribly sad thing to be known as. You've often wondered, you've got all this carbonation, but you can take other types of inferior beverages, like champagne, and you pour it into a glass, and the bubbles go. But with beer, it doesn't. And that's because there are proteins, hydrophobic polypeptides from the grain, which cross-link with the isoapparatus, the bitter compounds from the hops, and they stabilize the foam. So here's what you should do to get, because you're all civilized, you would never drink the beer straight out of the bottle. That's vulgar. So don't do that. You wouldn't drink Robert Mondavi wine from straight out of the bottle, so why would you do it with beer? You don't. You have a clean glass. You never wash the glasses in a machine. You always wash them by hand in soapy water, then thoroughly rinse them with clean water and allow them to drain dry. If you can scratch the bottom of the glass, you'll get nucleation sites for bubbles to rise. And you can buy glasses that have got these nucleation sites on the bottom. You never carry glasses with your greasy fingers in there. And if you've got a hideous growth on your top lip, you get rid of it. There's whiskers with globules of fat swinging, cascading into the beer. And if you never wear lipstick as well. So in my experience, more problems are with foam from negatives introduced into the glass or downstream. That's a big, big problem. Never wash glasses with dirty plates, anything. Treat the glasses with respect. And then if that happens, and you pour with vigor, you don't pour like this. You pour with vigor, and you produce all this foam. And then as it subsides and the liquid drains out, these proteins and bitter acids stick together and they give a solid foam. And then when you drink it gradually, you get these cathedral windows of foam lacing the side of the glasses. It's orgasmic. It's the most you get this. And why deny yourself this experience? And we've done lots of work to show that people think beer is better if you do it that way, and you drink it that way, and you see the foam. Ah.